Hello and welcome to UZREPORT.NEWS. I'm Barno Nazarzoda, and here are top news. Uzbekistan has delivered humanitarian aid to Beijing on February 12 to assist China's efforts to stop the spread of deadly disease. Preparations for the first international Uzbekistan Airports Aviation and Logistics Forum is underway in Tashkent. Uzbekistan intends to increase the number of flights to holy places Jeddah and Medina to 3. As China struggles to contain the coronavirus outbreak, the death toll from the epidemic and number of infections continue to climb. Uzbekistan has delivered humanitarian aid to Beijing on February 12 to assist China's efforts to stop the spread of deadly disease.
Humanitarian assistance consists of essential medical supplies to fight the virus and prevent its spread. These are sterile disposable gloves, coveralls, filter masks, respirators, etc. The Ministry of Emergencies has been tasked with organizing a special cargo to deliver Uzbekistan's humanitarian aid to China. The ministry has taken a number of necessary measures. The ambassador of China to Uzbekistan noted that the Chinese people highly appreciate Uzbekistan's humanitarian assistance. Meanwhile, the second cargo will carry the protective gear produced by the country's textile enterprises, and that's being prepared to be sent to China.
The coronavirus death toll in China dramatically spiked on Thursday. 242 new deaths were reported in Hubei province, the epicenter of the outbreak. This figure is more than double the prior daily record, reported by China's Health Commission. The reason could be because officials have adopted a new way to count infections, but it was not immediately clear how the new methodology changed the results, nor why the death toll suddenly leapt up so high. It was all the more striking after Wednesday, when China reported its lowest number of new cases in weeks. Officials say they have begun revising old data and suspected cases. China state media said that officials will also start recognizing CT scan results to confirm infections. Reuters reported last month a lack of kits to test for such an overwhelming number of people with symptoms may have delayed patients from being properly diagnosed. What is clear is when scientists change the criteria, it makes it hard to compare results and to track this epidemic. Thursday's numbers brings the total deaths in Hubei province alone to over 1,300. The confirmed new cases also jumped by almost 15,000, bringing the total to 48,000. The World Health Organization sent a team to China this week. The head of the emergency program warned, quote, "It's too early to predict if this is the beginning, middle or end of the epidemic."
The National Movement Yükseliş and the Development Strategy Center have proposed to organize International Discussion Club. This item has been included in the draft 2020 state program. The activities of the club will include public discussions of reforms in the country with the involvement of domestic and foreign experts, conducting surveys to assess the effectiveness of public authorities and management, development of reasonable proposals for draft legal acts, organization of regular public hearings to increase the accountability of state bodies. A group of poets, writers, literary critics and linguists from Afghanistan visited Uzbekistan as solemn events dedicated to the birthdays of great thinkers Alisher Navoiy and Zahriddin Muhammad Babur are underway throughout the country. A meeting was held with the Union of Writers of Uzbekistan, where the members of the delegation learned a lot about the activities of the union.
During the visit, Afghan art historians shared the impressions and opinions about the creative environment and the literary process in Uzbekistan. Also, they spoke about the practice of Uzbek language teaching in Afghanistan. This is my first visit to Uzbekistan. Being here at the Association of Writers of Uzbekistan, I was once again convinced of how highly you appreciate the work of writers and poets. During the 3 days I spent here, I got closely acquainted with my Uzbek colleagues and their works. We've agreed to establish cooperation in teaching Uzbek language and converting texts into Arabic script, which is widely used in Afghanistan. The sides noted the commonalities between the literatures of the two brother nations and expressed satisfaction with the development of relations in the field of literature, art and culture.
In February, the capital of Uzbekistan will host the first international Uzbekistan Airports Aviation and Logistics Forum. The Air Forum will help to attract the world's leading airlines to the country. This and much more was discussed at the press conference held in Tashkent.
It is expected that the International Aviation Forum will see a large number of international logistics specialists, heads of transport ministries, high-ranking representatives of airports, aviation and transport companies from the UK, Germany, France, Canada, India, Brazil, Egypt, Russia, China and South Korea. It is expected that more than 300 representatives from 32 countries will take part in the forum, including such companies as Boeing and Jetcraft, Air Charter Service, Lufthansa Consulting, Pegasus Airlines, Turkish Airlines, Air Astana and others. The International Forum will also host high-level meetings, conferences, exhibitions and interesting presentations, including those related to the development of tourism. According to the Deputy Prime Minister, Chairman of the State Committee for Tourism Development, Aziz Abduhakimov, due to the successful territorial location, climate and a great number of unique historical places, the potential of Uzbekistan in the development of a competitive aviation industry in the world market is huge. Our neighbors do not have such tourist opportunities as we have. Our transit potential is huge. Uzbekistan has every chance of becoming a transit hub in the near future. To turn this into reality in the coming years, the government of Uzbekistan has planned a number of measures to expand the country's logistics capabilities. From now on, we will work on creating new airlines. Uzbekistan Airways monopoly has finished. It is over. At least 5 or 6 companies will appear in the market in the near future. The quality of passenger transport will also improve. The challenges are big. This also applies to the transport of goods. By creating competitive conditions, I think we can create an aviation hub. We will be able to fly in all directions, since we are located in the center of the continent. The International Aviation Forum is scheduled for February 19-20. The National Exhibition Complex Uzexpo Center was chosen as a platform for this purpose.
The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development announced the acquisition of a minority stake in Singapore-based Anglesey Investments, which owns Anglesey Food. This company operates the biggest chain of supermarkets in Uzbekistan. The amount of the share is not yet declared, but in November it was announced that the direct investments by the EBRD comprised up to $40 million. Due to the funds, the number of stores in the network set to increase almost threefold, from current 50 to 140 by 2023. A number of electronic apps in the construction industry are currently being developed. They are intended to increase the transparency of all stages of construction processes. In addition, the introduction of digital technologies will help in the fight against low-quality services, facilitate the work of business contractors, and significantly reduce corruption in this sector.
Digitalization of construction is not just a trend, but an important factor for building competitiveness, a tool to eliminate the corruption and bureaucratic barriers, and ensure the efficiency of construction processes. With this in mind, the industry experts are now working on the implementation of a national information system intended to digitize monitoring of construction processes. All departments will be digitalized. We have studied the experience of such countries as Turkey, China and Russia and are working now on implementing best practices in Uzbekistan. The wide introduction of modern information and communication technologies will allow, in the first place, providing reliable information in regards to agreed contracts. Secondly, it will help to create a database of all contractors and subcontractors involved in the construction process. And finally, it will enable identification of shortcomings and their prompt elimination. Now is the right time to implement new information technologies. Many world countries have gone through this process a long time ago. Because of losing our experts and the system, the building industry has become outdated. In addition, starting 1st of March of this year, the Geographical Information System, State Urban Planning Cadastre of the Republic of Uzbekistan, will be introduced. Investors will be able to get answers to all their questions on the official website of the ministry. In particular, such questions as how to start a construction project, what are the procedures, and what documents are required for registration, and even how much time and financial resources would be needed.
On March 10th this year, the Tashkent Medina flight will be launched for the Umrah pilgrimage. In total, there will be 3 flights to holy places, 1 to Jeddah and 2 to Medina. This was stated at a press conference on the organization of the Umrah pilgrimage.
Already today, queues for making pilgrimages have been significantly reduced in some regions of the Republic. Everyone who wants to get a visa can fly on the same day. This applies to 8 regions. For example, there is a problem in Tashkent City and Fergana region. That's why we decided to launch the 3rd flight. The responsible persons raised the fee issue. They asked, why are the prices for the Umrah pilgrimage low in other countries but high in Uzbekistan? If you look at the costs provided in other countries, they indicate only the cost without travel expenses. They do not take into account the cost of the transportation. In addition, we have studied the prices of both our own and foreign travel agencies. The lowest price is $1,800 US. Our price is $1,380 US. Just compare. The issue of travel companies that organize inexpensive, but at the same time illegal trips to Umrah through other countries was also touched upon. No group leader can be seen in tours organized by such travel agencies. The leader is appointed on arrival by the people who meet them from among local citizens, mostly students. Another thing is there are no medical staff in these groups. And the third, their tour packages include only a one-time meal. Journalists also asked to comment on the ban on issuing visas to those wishing to make a tourist trip to Saudi Arabia. According to the officials, the main reason is the presence of numerous cases of offenses committed by our citizens on trips organized by various private companies. The Saudi side expressed its dissatisfaction with these violations and therefore stopped issuing visas. We can't disclose some details in particular, how many of our citizens have been fined due to this or that circumstance, but Uzbekistan must protect its citizens no matter where they are. Regardless, the government of Saudi Arabia has suspended issuing tourist visas, leaving the visa only for the Umrah pilgrimage. And in terms of this type of visa, everything is fine, and Uzbekistan is among the model countries. A daily flight was launched on November 14, 2019, with the number of daily flights reaching 2. Over the past month, about 38,000 of our citizens have successfully made the Umrah pilgrimage and returned to their homeland.
You know, within the first 2 minutes of being back on Earth, I saw more people's faces than I had seen in a year. So that was really exciting, and it's just fun to interact with people again.
That may be an understatement, given that American astronaut Christina Cooke now holds the record for the most consecutive days in space, 328. A span during which she physically interacted with just a few other people, fellow astronauts with whom she shared very close quarters aboard the International Space Station.
Thumbs up and a huge smile.
Cooke returned to Earth last Thursday, and while she was allotted for her feat, she hopes it's not too long before another woman rockets past her milestone.
And I've always said about any record that you set that my biggest hope is that it's exceeded as soon as possible. That means we're pushing the boundaries. More people are living up to their dreams and their potential. So my main message to anyone who has a dream is to follow your passions, be true to yourself, do what you love, and live the life that you've imagined for yourself.
Cooke also led the first all-female spacewalk in October with fellow NASA astronaut Jessica Meir when they stepped out of the space station at the same time. Her 328-day mission gave insight on how weightlessness and space radiation affect the female body on long missions. So far, so good.
But what I have noticed is that my balance has taken a little while to get used to. So the physical act of walking was something to get used to, but I'm feeling great.
The next step for a female astronaut could be the moon.
So I like to say that I'm just excited that I'll probably know the first woman and the next man to walk on the surface of the moon, but any of us would be ready and honored to accept that mission if it were offered to us.
But for the time being, Cooke said she is enjoying life back in her hometown of Galveston, Texas, with its earthly luxuries of trips to the beach, munching on chips and salsa, spending time with her pooch, and gravity.
Scientists in Colombia have unearthed fossils of one of the largest turtles that ever lived. They say the freshwater beast was the size of a sedan and built for battle. On Wednesday, scientists said the new fossils show that the Stupendimus geographicus grew up to 13 feet long and 1.25 tons in weight. Males had sturdy horns on both sides of their shells, and deep scars in the fossils show that these horns may have been used for fighting other males. Stupendimus, meaning stupendous turtle, inhabited a colossal wetland system in South America long before the Amazon River even formed. The turtle's large size may have allowed them to defend themselves against formidable predators. It shared their environment with 36-foot-long crocodilians. One of the Stupendimus fossils was found with a 2-inch-long croc tooth embedded in it.
I'm a New Yorker, but I'm not afraid of Trump, and Trump is afraid of me. Donald Trump is the world's biggest schoolyard bully with no respect for civility, decency, or the facts. And our party needs a candidate who can go toe-to-toe with him and take the fight to him, and I'm going to do that. Getting it done means passing common sense gun safety laws that protect our children and our communities. Getting it done means making America a global leader in the fight against climate change and following Chattanooga's lead on conservation. Getting it done means creating good jobs with higher wages. Getting it done means fixing our broken immigration system and creating a path to citizenship for the 11 million people who are living in the shadows. Getting it done means protecting a woman's right to choose and appointing judges who will defend that right. Whatever the reason, the other candidates have just spent a year in just a couple of states, and it's very little time that they have for every place else, including Tennessee. And I don't think that that's good for our country or for our party. There are 50 states, and I'm determined to go to all 50 states. Because if you're going to reunite this country, you might as well unite all of the country. Since the Republican Senate didn't have the courage to remove the president from office, it is up to us to do it this November.
This was our last report. Thanks for watching and goodbye.